Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Happy last week of April. What the heck? Oh my goodness. This year I feel has gone I don't know. All these years are just going very, very quickly. Very quickly. But that's good. That means we're working on things and we're keeping busy. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to start because obviously a lot of people might end up coming in a little bit later. So we'll begin now. So let me just first officially welcome everybody to another one of our monthly wellness webinars. This month's topic is related to stress awareness and management. And before we officially begin, I want to thank my intern and co-presenter, Cassie Kuman, for doing all of the research and all of the hard work in creating the content and materials for today's webinar. I also want to share a little of what we call the housekeeping for today. Please note that, as I'm sure you heard as you entered into the webinar, this is a recorded session. We had about 45 people or so register for this webinar, but we always offer to record the events and send the links out afterwards in case you can't join us live, because sometimes that happens, you have conflicts, etc. We just love that you register for what we have to offer. You're automatically muted, your microphones are automatically muted, your cameras are automatically turned off, but you are free to put your cameras on if you want to. We are going to hold a question and answer session towards the end of our webinar. We usually leave about 10 or 15 minutes for that, but you can always throw stuff into the chat box at any time. We want to disclaim that anytime you see us doing any of these things, this is not medical advice. We are not your healthcare provider, so please be sure to meet with your doctors and your specialists before beginning any new food or fitness regimen and get clearance from your own physicians before doing anything like that. We're also going to be sending out follow-up emails, downloadable handouts, and a link to our feedback survey. Whenever you register for these events, you're automatically entered into the Dish with Dina mailing list. So you're on not only for follow-up information from this webinar, but you're in our newsletter system. You can always obviously opt out at any time, unsubscribe at any time if you feel like we're bothering you too much. And what we're sharing with you today, and we hope that you take away, is to help you learn the role that stress plays in both mental and physical health. We want you to recognize and reduce stress while still being productive. And we want you to plan to include downtime in your schedule. And then we want to wrap up and have you come away with finding value, balance, and happiness in your life, because don't we all deserve that? Yes, we do. So now let me formally introduce myself for anybody who might not know me. My name is Dina D'Alessandro. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I work out of New York City. I'm located in the East Village neighborhood within the borough of Manhattan in New York City. I also sometimes work out of Ocean County, New Jersey. I've been a dietitian for about 6 years or so. This is a second career for me. I do run a very part-time private practice where my specialties include high-risk prenatal counseling, diabetes prevention, chronic disease management for people who are newly diagnosed with illnesses or diseases. And one of the responsibilities that I really enjoy is being a preceptor to dietetic interns like Cassie, because to become a dietitian, we go through a lot of schooling, either a bachelor or a master's degree in science. And then we also have to go through an entire year-long internship working with a variety of supervisors. So I play the role of supervisor. I oversee the tasks and responsibilities assigned to the interns during the time that they spend with me. And then I also act as mentor, because these are my future colleagues that I am helping launch into that new generation of dietitians. I'm also an independent contractor, which means that people hire me to do community and corporate wellness events. I'm also a trained lifestyle coach with the CDC's National Diabetes Prevention Program. And last but not least, when I switched careers and I went back to school for all of this, I'm actually an alum of Lehman College, which is one of the city universities in New York located up in the Bronx. And I did both of my second degree undergrad there, my Master of Science there, and I also did my dietetic internship with Lehman College. And as a thank you, they hired me to be an adjunct lecturer with the Health Sciences Department, and I've been doing this for the past 3.5 years or so. I teach both undergraduate and graduate nutrition courses, and I still kind of technically am the on-campus registered dietitian at the student health center. It's just that right now with the transition out of off-campus and then back on campus with COVID, the student health center services haven't completely 100% open up just yet. So hopefully I'll be back on campus helping out the students and the staff and the employees in their wellness pursuits. So let me turn this over now to my co-facilitator and intern, Cassie. Cassie, take it away.
Thank you, Dina. Hi, everyone. My name is Cassie Kuhlman, and I want to share a little bit about myself as well. I received my Master's of Science in Nutrition degree from Brooklyn College, and currently I'm also doing my dietetic internship at Brooklyn College. I have already completed my clinical rotation at a nursing home called Brooklyn Center for Rehabilitation and Residential Healthcare. I also finished my food service management rotation at an independent practice rotation at Red Rabbit, which is a Black-owned school food management company. And I had a wonderful experience at these rotation sites. And now I am doing my public health and community wellness rotation with the amazing Dina D. Alessandro at District Dina. When it comes to nutrition, my area of interest is pediatric and community nutrition.
Thank you, Cassie. So for those of you who are here with us, you just learned a little bit about us, and now we want to learn a little bit about you. If you wouldn't mind putting in the chat box right now your location. Where are you physically located? Where are you watching from? As we just said, Cassie and I are both in New York City. And I also have a few polls that we're going to be launching throughout our webinar. So this is the first one we're going to ask you to answer. So if you see on screen here, starting off with stress levels, how stressed are you currently on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all to 10 being get me the heck out of here? Please enter how you're feeling today. And then number 2, if money was not an issue in your perfect world, how do you like to get away? How would you like to run away and take all of that stress off of you? Do you enjoy going to a beach? Do you like being at a mountain resort? Do you like a spa? Any other things that you have in mind there? I'll let that go for another couple of seconds, and then I'll end the poll shortly. Let's see, I think we've gotten everybody here. Thanks, everybody. Very cool, thank you. Yep, there we go. Okay, I think everybody's answered. So I'm ending the poll. I'll share the results. Very cool. So let's take a look. Okay. So good. It's a good thing you're here, because 7 out of 10 is a little bit on the high side. And let's take a look at the would you rathers. I'm also quite a beach person too. So I get that. I don't love being in the outdoors, like in hiking and stuff. I prefer being on a beach where the ocean is lapping. So thank you for sharing that. We also, this isn't for points or anything like that, but we also want to get a little bit of background of testing your knowledge. So we're going to present you with a pre-test, and let me launch that right now. So we're going to ask you to answer the following questions here. What would you say, based on current research, what percentage of Americans are currently claiming to be stressed during the day? Is it 25%, 55%, or 95%? Question number 2, true or false? Stress only affects our mental health, not our physical health. Question number 3, it's best not to eat when you're stressed. And question number 4, cortisol is a stress hormone, true or false? So we're gonna let that poll go for another few seconds. You can take a guess if you're not sure, because the answers will be presented to you in the webinar. And then we're going to come back at the end and we're going to test your knowledge again. So pay attention to those questions, and I won't tell you what the answers are just yet. Let's see if yep, there we go. Okay, we have almost everybody's participated. So let me wait another minute or so, a couple of seconds here. So far, what do we have there? 75% participated. Anyone else want to chime in? There we go. Yep, take your best guess. It's okay if you're incorrect. That's what you're here for. We're going to teach you some of this information. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now and share on screen the results. And let's take a look. So most of you say you think 55% of Americans are stressed. We'll see if that's correct. Stress only affects our mental health, not physical. Most of you said that is false. Most of split here with it's best not to eat when you're stressed out. And then you do agree that cortisol is a stress hormone. So we will come back and find out if you were correct with that. Okay, let me take that off screen now. And Cassie, let me turn this back over to you.
Thank you, Dina. So now we will discuss the various roles stress can play on our mental and physical health. According to statistics, Americans are one of the most stressed out in the world. The current stress level experienced by American is 20% higher than the global average. So let's first understand what stress is. Stress is a physical or mental response to an external cause, which can be anything from everyday responsibilities to serious life events that can trigger stress levels. Everyone experiences stress from time to time. In the immediate short-term situation, it can help you cope with potential serious situations. For example, if you are in a frightening situation, the fight or flight response, also known as acute stress response, will cause your body to respond to stress, releasing hormones such as cortisol to increase your heart and breathing rate and prepare your body to either stay and deal with the threat or run away safely. Over time, repeated activation of the stress response and chronically elevated levels can take a toll on the body. Sometimes we stress over good things like a new job, an upcoming wedding, moving to a new house, a new baby, and other times it's over not so good things. Family and relationship common stressors are divorce, separation, loss of a loved one, drama, or an illness. Work, business, or school common stressors can be losing a job, pressure to meet assignment deadlines. Personal stressors are health issues or life events. At times, common financial stressors are unexpected money problems or debt. There are also environmental stressors we experience, such as the pandemic. According to a recent poll conducted by the American Psychological Association, top stressors for Americans are the rise in price of everyday items due to inflation, supply chain issues, and global uncertainty. As you can see in this picture, stress can affect all the systems in our body. We may deal with cognitive issues such as mind fog and loss of concentration. Dopamine and serotonin are two neurotransmitters that play an essential role in your brain. Stress may trigger an imbalance in your dopamine or serotonin levels, which can affect your mental health, and you may experience depression. When depressed, you may feel helpless, less motivated, or lose interest in things that used to motivate you. When the cardiovascular system is affected, you may have heart disease and a high cholesterol level and blood pressure level. Stress even affects our joints and muscles. When you get stressed, you may probably notice tension and aches and pain in areas such as your neck, your shoulders, your lower back. Your skin may even break out, or it may even be dry. You may even experience hair loss. Stress can affect brain gut communication and trigger pains, bloating, and gut discomfort. And stress can also decrease hormone production and affect menstrual cycles, and it can lead to irregular, heavier, or painful periods as well. Stress and our overall emotional state can shape our eating behaviors and food choices when it comes to nutrition. For example, chronic stress can negatively influence dietary behaviors by triggering our desire for comfort foods such as sweets and baked goods, and lower our intake of whole food such as fruits and vegetables. Stress can also affect our lifestyle habits, such as our desire to participate in fitness, physical activity, your sleep, and also your regular sleep habits. And it can also increase your risk of mental health conditions. We just discussed what stress is and its role in our mental health. Now we're going to identify how to recognize and reduce stress. So, here's what we want to be paying attention to. Are you suffering from constant migraines or headaches? Are you finding yourself being frustrated over certain things? Do you feel really depressed or really sad? Are you noticing you are experiencing stomach issues, like you cannot digest some food properly, or you do not feel well when you eat something? And are you having problems falling asleep or getting good quality sleep at night? These are the symptoms of chronic stress, which can weaken your immune system and cause uncomfortable physical symptoms. When dealing with stress, it's important to recognize things that are out of your control and let it go. Instead, focus on what you can control and things that make you feel calm. Additionally, you can set realistic goals to help you realize your vision for personal growth, healthy living, and wellness. Here are 3 ways you can manage stressful eating. Number 1 is to practice mindful eating. Know that your craving may result from a stressful event. And then ask yourself, are you truly hungry? Wait a few minutes before eating. Number 2, find healthier options. If you are still feel the need for a snack, consider a lower calorie, lower fat options than what you may have previously chosen. And number 3, watch your portion size. Instead of taking the whole box with you, put a small size portion on the plate. Check the package to see what one serving size is and try to stick to it. Overall, a healthy diet can improve your mood. Getting enough nutrients, including essential vitamins and minerals, in your diet and drinking water can help your mental well being. In addition, a diet high in a variety of nutrients can be both protective and it can help your health by providing you more physical energy to deal with life's challenges. These are 3 tips for managing your fitness, physical activity when stressed. Number 1, move your body. Exercise is a very effective way to combat stress. When we exercise, our bodies release endorphins, which help us feel good. This doesn't mean you have to spend hours in the gym lifting weights. Instead, you could go for a walk or dance around your living room to your favorite song. We understand that some people may have physical limitations to certain part of their body. So do whatever you can. You would be surprised at how much of a moon booster it is. Number 2, go outside. Being outside in nature is great for our well-being. Going for a short walk or sitting in a green space can have an extremely calming effect on how we feel. And number 3, do something you love. Almost any exercise or movement can increase your fitness level while decreasing your stress. The most important thing is to pick an activity that you enjoy. Here's our 3 helpful tips for managing your sleep habits. Number 1, have a good sleep environment. Consider evaluating your sleep environment for possible stressors. A good sleep environment is dark with little noise. Number 2, limit alcohol and caffeine consumption right before bed because both can affect your ability to have a full night's rest. Excessive alcohol can also affect your body way of handling stress. And number 3, avoid blue light exposure right before bed. The light from electronics, including phones, computer, and TVs, can interfere with your circadian rhythm. Experts recommend you set aside at least 30 minutes before you want to go to sleep. And lastly, here are 3 ways to manage your mental health and self care. Number one, do something creative. When we do something creative, we are using a different part of our brain from where stress occurs. Even if it's for 5 minutes, being creative can help you relieve feelings of pressure. For example, you could draw, doodle, sew, sing, or cook for yourself your favorite meal. Number two, practice meditation and mindfulness. Select a time and place where you are free of distraction and interruptions. Find a position that will allow your body to relax and breathe in slowly and deeply. Close your eyes to block out any visual distraction. Try to let your mind go blank, blocking out thoughts and worries. And number three, talk to someone. Speaking to a friend, loved one, colleague, or therapist can help you lighten the load you may be feeling. The person you're talking to may also be able to help you organize your thoughts, create an action plan, or take some tasks off of your plate.
Oh my goodness. You have said a lot, Cassie. And while you were talking, I actually physically and mentally felt just a little bit lighter. So we didn't actually have this planned originally in this webinar, but I want to do a little test with everybody right now. I'm going to set my alarm for 1 minute. Okay, 60 seconds. And I'm going to mute myself. And I want us all just to do whatever, breathe, focus your eyes someplace else, close your eyes, whatever it is you want to do. I want you to pay attention to how long it feels. It's going to feel like a year and a half has gone by, but it's only 60 seconds. And that is really sometimes all you need just to kind of let things go, let things through, and put yourself in a different state. So let me set this for 1 minute right now. I'll mute myself and when the alarm goes off, I'll unmute myself. So ready? Let's begin. Okay, that was 1 minute. I don't know if you saw, but at like the 28 seconds in, I was looking, did I forget to set the alarm? It felt like it was taking forever. But even just a small amount of time at different parts during your day, just to let you kind of refocus on certain things, or just allow yourself an opportunity to empty out your brain and just give yourself that time to center yourself, can be really, really beneficial. So we encourage you to do some of those things. And so this is where we're transitioning now here in the second half of the webinar. So we've just given you, what Cassie's done is she's just given you some recommendations on the what to do to help you prevent and manage stress. But now we're going to focus on how to implement those recommendations into our daily lives. I'm going to say I'm a culprit and maybe even a victim of my own processes in this, being overly busy all the time. This is not impressive, and unfortunately it is very counterproductive to efficiency. So to start, we're going to discuss with reviewing your calendar and starting with making adjustments there. So just out of curiosity, I do have another poll that I'm going to launch here, planning and productivity poll. Let's take a look at what kind of calendars or planners do you use? Are you a digital person, whether it's a Google Calendar or an app? Are you an analog paper planner type of person? Do you like doing a combo of those two? Or are you neither and you're like, whatever, I just wing it. If I get there late, I get there late. People tell me when my deadlines are and I just work very last minute, which by the way, makes me super high anxious when stuff like that happens. So let's take a look at how you implement your planning and productivity. Oh, that's good. Okay, so almost half of you right now have said you're doing combo. I'm going to share on screen in a second. Me too. Me too. Cassie, what about you? If you want to unmute yourself, are you a digital analog combo person?
I am a combo
I'm
person,
a
a
combo
little bit of
person.
both.
Yeah, I'm a combo person too. I'm going to share in a bit my actual calendar, but I like having paper planners too. Okay, so let me end this poll right now and I'll share the results on screen. So if you, some of you are digital and most of us are combo. Thank you. We have 168 hours in every week. And so we want you to become more mindful as to how you're spending those hours. We want you to first look at your whole calendar, however it is that you're using a calendar. Take a look at how much is currently on the calendar that you have there. Where are you spending most of your time? Do what's called a time audit. Take a look at where the blocks of time that might be stretching you a little bit thin, or things that are cutting it a little bit close, or places where you don't really have a lot of breathing space. And we'll talk about that in a bit. We want you to schedule time for yourself for self-care, whether it's just a few minutes in between things or in advance, like vacations, right? Or when we have meetings on our calendars, like we're scheduling things on our calendars for that, but oftentimes we forget to schedule time for ourselves to do those little breaks during the day. We also want you to take a look as to where things are back to back and add some buffers if you can do so. Sometimes we overestimate how long something takes and sometimes we underestimate. So give yourself a little cushion. For example, if I'm working with a one-on-one nutrition counseling client at 12:30 p.m. for a 30-minute follow-up session, I'll schedule the next appointment at either 1:15 or 1:30 so that I can finish up my charting notes so that they don't end up piling up at the end of the day. Or I can take a break, use the restroom, grab a quick bite, or just allow myself to move away from my computer and give my eyeballs a break. So I'm actually going to stop sharing our slides right now, and I want to pull up on screen. This might cause a lot of you to have anxiety when you see this, but I promise you there is a method to my madness. So this is my calendar example from back in March. Yasmin is actually here with us, and there's a little thing on there about Yasmin and I having a little day of fun, and I'll explain that in a second. So this is from many, many years of me being spread so thin, feeling like I'm putting a lot of effort and energy into work things and not a lot of balance, like my personal state. And I've always been quite transparent where I've undergone a lot of mental health issues. I've burnt out plenty of times. I'm still not perfect at it because I am human and things do pile up from time to time. And I am very busy. A lot of people will say things like, I know how busy you are, but behind the scenes, I'm purposely allowing myself the time and flexibility so as I can create these little buffers, so I can create this opportunity to have some breathing space in some things. So even though a lot of my professional colleagues, people in my social network will be like, you're always so busy, I can't get a hold of you for 3 weeks. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason for that. I don't like having so much to do on any given day or any given week that I can't catch my breath. So I won't explain a lot of this to you because some of this is kind of personal, but you can see I've color coded some things. So when I have errands to run, or if I have time that I want to spend on myself, these things that are in pink, I am an early bird. So I get up around 5:30 in the morning. I am not the type of person who the alarm goes off and boom, I'm out the door. Like I need to ease in to the day. I need to slowly get up. I need to allow myself time to have breakfast. I need to sometimes take care of my cat or, wash up and do all of these hygienic things that I want to do. Or maybe I'll do some journaling in the morning or do some meditation. And I'll also include physical activity, whether I'm doing it here at home, whether I'm going to the gym, or I'm working on physical therapy, things that I need for myself as well to help recover from some injuries. You'll also see some of these like turquoise colored things that I have batched together when I'm trying to be efficient. So if I'm on the computer, responding to text messages, following up on emails, I'm chunking that time together. I'm blocking that time. I'm only doing those things during a certain amount of time and then I'm done. That's it. I come back later and I finish with part 2 of that. But when I have an hour to spend on something, that's all I do. I try not to let it go past that. I also include things like travel time and the amount of money that I spend too over the course of the week to help me keep on budget and to make sure that I am adhering to not going above and beyond some of the financial things that I've set in place for myself too, because that can also be quite stressful. Here you have some of those brownish colored items that you see in front of you are times that are completely uninterrupted. Like I am what I'm doing right now. I am on. I cannot be interrupted. I'm available during that time. However, there are definitely times like on Friday the 18th, which maybe some of you are doing right now too, I can multitask, right? Like I can log on to a webinar, but then I can also maybe catch up on some administrative tasks. So sometimes I'll double up and put things together so that I can use my time more efficiently. And then as you can see here too, in the purple, I've scheduled lunch for myself because I used to be the type of person who would just work through everything, busy, busy, busy. I forget to eat. That is not good for my mental or my physical health and well-being. And then Friday the 18th and also on Saturday, you can see I have some socializing things that I'm doing. So I've planned ahead. I'm hanging out with friends or family members. It's really important for me to make sure that I maintain and nurture those relationships. So again, for people who don't necessarily see this, if they say, you know, when are you next available? And I say not until May 12th, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so busy. But I'm doing this on purpose because I don't like cluttering up every single minute of my life that I can't breathe, that I don't take time for myself and end up being detrimental in that way to my physical and my mental health. So I hope that was kind of interesting to share with you because, you know, you might have a different way of doing this. That's not everybody's going to implement that, but that's how I like to work and how I like to plan for things, because that ongoing to-do list, that thing can just be 227 pages long. But if I know what I need to point out and piece in and schedule, then I know I can still be productive while still allowing myself the time that I need to take breaks and again, keep up with some of my self-care. Okay, so next up, we hear a lot of times this phrase called time management, which is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, a misnomer because we cannot manage time. It moves with or without us being in charge of it, but we can manage our tasks and our priorities. So the first thing I want to share on here is something that was coined by Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about starting with these big rocks. So I encourage people to front load their day or their week or whatever time block that they have for themselves with these big rocks. So visually picture an empty glass vase. If you put in large rocks first, you can then pour in those small rocks, those pebbles, those grains of sand, and those little things will find themselves into those little nooks and crannies. But if you start with the small rocks first, if you fill up that glass vase with just the pebbles and the sand, it's going to be hard to jam in those larger size rocks. So the big rocks could be anything that's like a time consuming project, something that is a really, it involves a multitude of people, like a group assignment, things that are going to take a lot of mental energy. And they also might be things that are really important to you, but not time sensitive, like spending time with loved ones, making sure you're checking that off the list. That's an important priority. The next thing is scheduling yourself small breaks throughout the day. Like you just saw what I had there. Sometimes I have blank spaces. Sometimes I have a lunch listed there. Give yourself permission to take break. Again, working nonstop is not sustainable. Physically distance yourself as often as possible. Working through this whole pandemic change up, a lot of us have found ourselves either transitioning to a work from home assignment, or maybe some of us like me and my boyfriend, we are still currently working from home, a lot of remote work. So areas start becoming meshed together, right? My kitchen is my office. I check email while I'm in the bathroom. My bedroom right now is my home office because I'm doing this and I'm trying to be in an enclosed space where I would normally be in my living room instead. So what I'm encouraging everybody to do, and if I can do this, I'm hoping you can too. I live in a typical New York City apartment. It's 250 square feet with 2 people and a cat. And as I said, my boyfriend and I both work from home. So if I'm working here right now, this is a place where I sleep. I would rather not sully it up with work stuff. So as soon as I'm done here, I'll close my computer and I'll go outside, and that's where I'll continue working from there. And same thing, if I'm working at a desk or a different location within my apartment and I'm spending time on the computer, when I'm ready to eat, I'll get up and I'll move to the couch and I'll sit at the coffee table and I'll have my meal there. So if you are currently working in an office, same thing applies. Get up and do not, please do not. It's bad for your digestion and your mental health, I believe. Don't eat at your desk. Or if anything, go to somebody else's cubicle and eat with them. Socialize, move around, go for a walk, take time, go to the cafeteria, go run an errand if you want to. Just get yourself physically away from where you normally are. And I tend to also say to my clients a lot of times when they say things like, oh, I can't step away for things, like I can't drink a lot of water. My water consumption is really bad because I have to keep running to the bathroom and I don't want to do that while I'm working. And I always say, do your coworkers who smoke have that same attitude? Because they're all out there taking a smoke break every 30 minutes. So it's really important for you to be able to find that time to walk away, step away, relax your eyes, etc. I also want to encourage you, I didn't show you in the calendar, but at the very bottom of my days, I have wind down time. Similar to that buffer time between meetings and to-do items, allow yourself time to just unload, brain dump, have a bedtime routine, like maybe have some tea or put your jammies on and get comfortable, or journal, prep or plan for the next day. This way you're not going to bed struggling and worrying about all the things that you have on your to-do list to accomplish. And then throughout the day, you're going to experience natural ebbs and flows in your energy level. Perhaps you're an early riser. Perhaps you, like a lot of people, have a 3 o'clock midday slump. Perhaps you're a night owl. Maybe you're a seasonal worker or a night shift worker. Again, can't manage time, but you can manage your tasks and your energy. Cassie mentioned before those 4 pillars of health that we talk about: diet, exercise, sleep, and self-care. Those all can influence your energy levels. And the reason why we call them pillars is because when one falls down, sometimes they kind of all fall down, unfortunately. So by nature, our bodies tend to shift from high to low energy every 90 to 120 minutes or so, after which we need a period of recovery, which means giving our brains, eyes, and bodies some rest so that we don't continue the rest of the day with difficulty focusing and concentrating. So allow for these periods, however short they might be, to help you transition. Maybe you set an alarm reminder on your phone. Maybe you add a calendar pop-up. Maybe you include that in the calendar as well. Like you actually schedule time if you know you're going to be cramped. Like I know a lot of my students register for these webinars, and I know that you're all up cramming for things and working until all hours of the evening. So even if you do have to struggle with putting an assignment together, try to just set an alarm for every 90 to 120 minutes. And again, it sounds really luxurious, but it doesn't have to be an hour and a half that you're taking a break. Just give yourself 2 to 3 minutes just to get up and stretch and move around. Consider also days where you are physically or mentally exhausted, like you have a long day ahead of you or before. Maybe you were working on a hefty project, you have a stressful situation or a traumatic event that just took place, you're recovering from an illness or an injury. Try to have a few different plans in mind. So if you're feeling super energetic on a certain day, you can pull out plan A and get all of those little administrative tasks and errands done. You can hit the gym, you can return and make phone calls because the brain bandwidth is there. And then on your low energy days, when those things hit, and you may or may not know when that's going to happen, you can move to plan B, where you can still be productive, but you're not exactly working on anything too heavy that's going to drain you even further. You're engaging perhaps in lighter physical activity, gentle movements, stretching, yoga, and not working out on a treadmill for those days. And now we're going to talk about boundary setting. Boundaries and behaviors really go hand in hand in helping us establish good and sustainable healthy habits. So boundaries both with yourself and with others. And again, this might sound like a luxury or a privilege, but I just want to encourage everybody to think back on what's more important: your physical and mental health, or spreading yourself so thin and burning yourself out and trying to meet deadlines, go, 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 go all the time. Delegate as best as you can, whatever that means to you. Are there people in your life or household that can help you manage your tasks and your responsibilities? Can you afford to set aside a budget or create a system to outsource some of your tasks, whether it's meal prepping, shopping, laundry, house cleaning, bill paying, admin duties, emails, etc. I shared with Cassie earlier, I have no in-house washer dryer unit in here. I have to go downstairs to my laundromat, and it's physical labor to go up and down. It's very time consuming. Wash the thing, come back up, dry the thing, come back up, fold the thing, etc. Sometimes it's worth just to pay the downstairs laundromat to just do it all for me, but it's 3 times as expensive for me to do it myself, which is not really budget friendly. But sometimes I have to kind of weigh the options of, I just don't have it in me to do this. So I'll set aside sometimes every month or so to just spend the money on that. If you use Outlook or Gmail, there are ways that you can create filters and folders so that certain recipients that send you email will automatically get categorized and set aside so that you don't have to be constantly looking at things coming into your inbox and being distracted by that stuff. Again, you kind of compartmentalize. So when you're ready to check your email, you go into the newsletter section, you go into whatever the other things are, and you can be a little bit more productive in that way. And then we want to encourage you to implement what we call this start, keep, stop approach, similar to doing that time audit. Do a life audit in the next few weeks after you've taken into account everything that we're sharing with you. You know, what are some things that are just no longer bringing you joy? What are some things that really get you going and get you inspired and motivated? Obviously, it might take some time to create these actions. Like if you're quitting a job or you're breaking up a relationship with somebody, that might not be an easy thing to do right away. But something like unsubscribing from newsletters or determining how long you set aside time to scroll or decrease scrolling through social media. Or maybe you need to make a little bit more money and set aside some time to go and join a gym. You know, try to get into an idea of like what is working for you, what's not. Making dinner plans with your friends and family, etc. Be honest with who and what is taking up those 168 hours of your week, and figure out what you'd like to start doing, what you'd like to continue doing, and what you want to stop doing in order to allow yourself to have the time that you need for yourself in a more realistic and sustainable way. And now putting this all together, hopefully to encourage you to find balance and value and happiness in your life. In the dietetics field, and dietetics and healthcare, really, when we figure out how to help someone treat or manage their disease or condition, we don't just send them off with information. Here's a meal plan, a handout, and have them go fly solo. We make sure to regularly monitor and evaluate their progress. So in that example, sometimes those treatments or modifications are really easy to do, and other times they can be quite challenging, like changing up behavior of something. Change takes time. Progress is rarely linear. A lot of things are going up and down and up and down. You're going to have course corrections, and sometimes you'll have trial and error periods. So we want you to be patient with yourself, and we want you to be compassionate as well. So what I'm expecting you to do in the coming weeks, and bear with me a sec as the next slide progresses, there we go. In the coming weeks is at the start or end of every day, week, or month, try to reflect on things that are good that happened. So this is where my paper planner comes in, right? I write things down, like little goofy things like a snow day or a surprise visit from someone, because it's really easy for me to sit there and remember all the crap that I had to deal with for that whole month. And it's really hard for me to remember all the good stuff. So try to focus on the positive things in your life. Know that you're dealing with the negative things that are going to happen all the time, right? Cassie mentioned stress happens just as a natural course of action all the time, but it doesn't have to be that you're focusing on. Forward planning and goal setting every month or every quarter. Take a look at your previous accomplishments as well as your future intentions, and then implement that start, keep, stop approach to decide what's keeping you on track and what is knocking you off course. And then lastly, review, modify, and adjust as needed. Keep continuing to regularly evaluate and monitor whatever it is that's in your life, your calendar, your plans, etc. Keep in mind that you're doing both inner work and outer work concepts. So the sphere of outer work is the world outside of us, and the sphere of inner work is the stuff that we can control, how you conceptualize things, how you act and react to the outside energies. That really plays a huge role in stress management as well. So before we check the chat and answer any questions that you may have, we want to retest your knowledge. So if you were paying attention, we're going to ask you those same 4 questions that are appearing on screen here. If you remember, again, it's okay. If you forgot, that's all right. So we're testing your knowledge. Number 1, what percentage of Americans are stressed during the day? 25, 55, or 95. We didn't give the answers before when you took the pretest on purpose, but we'll give you the answers now. Number 2, stress affects only our mental health, not our physical health. True or false? Number 3, true or false? It's best not to eat when we're stressed. And number 4, true or false? Cortisol is a stress hormone. So let's give it a second here. About 2/3 of you are answering. I'll wait a little bit longer for anyone else who wants to participate. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, so far. Okay, there we go. 100% participation. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to share this on screen and I'll give you the answers. You are correct. The majority of you answered. 55% of Americans, according to current research, are stressed out. And number two, no, right? Cassie showed you those slides about both mental and physical health are affected when we are dealing with stress, talking about chronic conditions, talking about hypertension, etc. It's best not to eat when we're stressed. Absolutely not. You want to make sure that you nourish yourself, right? You want to make sure that maybe you're being more mindful about it, but you don't necessarily want to forego eating proper energy because then you're going to peter out and that's not good for you. And last but not least, cortisol for sure is a stress hormone. It's one of many. Okay, let me stop sharing that on screen. And let me go into the chat here now. And Cassie, you can take a look also. I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top just to see what we got in here as we were talking. Good afternoon, everybody. Sure. Thank you for coming. Let's say, hey, Connecticut. Hey, Danielle. The Bronx representing. Westchester. Hello, hello. Brighton Beach. Yes. Hi, Yasmin. Right, exactly, right. It did feel longer than a minute. That's exactly it. Hey, Mildred. Hi. Exactly. Yep. You're welcome about that. The buffer time. Sometimes we don't realize you don't have to fit in every little nook and cranny. Like you're allowed to just sit there and stare into space and just allow yourself to not be go, go, go. Hi, Antoinette. Hi, Antoinette. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or feedback, you can put that into the chat. And we have about 10 more minutes before we officially have to wrap up. So I'll allow if anybody wants to, and you can also, if you want to unmute or raise your hand, if there's anything you want to share, and I'll allow another few seconds if anybody wants to chime in. Mildred, I would assume stress affects everything, just like we said before, for physical and mental. And because of the fact that it is hormone related and a lot of our eating responses and metabolism responses are hormone generated, I would 100% say that yes, stress can affect weight issues as well. Yeah, exactly. It's possible. So can sleep, by the way, and that's all related to sleep can mess up with your digestion and your metabolism too. Yeah, thanks, Mildred. All right, so I'm gonna, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yep, there you go. Oh, let's take a look. Angelus, hey, Angelus. Yes, you did. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. It's nice to see you here. Nice to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Some of these are my former students from what feels like 120 years ago, even though it's only been probably 3 or 2. Nice to see you here. Thank you. So this next slide here, again, to keep you on the role of next steps. So if you've registered for this webinar, whether you attended live or not, because we had about 45 actual registrants, but as you can see here, there's about maybe 9 or 10 people showing up live. You can keep an eye out for our follow-up email, which will be sent to everyone in the coming week. It will include a recording of this session. It will include, we always like to give away some freebies. So we have some worksheets to give to you to keep on track with things. We also have a feedback survey. I'm actually going to copy paste it into the chat right now, because if you want to click on it right now and launch it. Our webinar name was Stress Awareness. We always love getting feedback. We always like hearing how we can improve, and we always like knowing if there's other topics you want to learn about. And then we also have future webinars, which I'll share in a second. Yasmin, I'll get you in 1 sec. I see your hand raised. And we also have coming soon, I don't know when, because I'm still working on this, but we have what I hope is an affordable affordable service for some of you who might be interested in this, the $28 for 28 days online courses. So what we give to you, things like this right now, these are free 1-hour webinars, a little bit of everything. But then at some point we want to kind of help with you establish those habits. And as we said before, it can take time and consistence. So we have courses that are going to be coming sometimes on healthy habits in general, sometimes on very specific like medical condition things that you want to manage. And every week you'll get a module of what to follow. It's a self-paced course with some added features like a support group either on Facebook or on our Slack channel, or there might be like live Q&A sessions where people can come in and do a little bit of like a group coaching session. So keep an eye out for that. Go ahead, Yasmin, you had your hand up.
Yes, I did. I just wanted to mention that I think it was really a good tip in terms of the stress eating, to try to find healthier options. But I also wanted to point out the importance of planning if that's going to happen. So, I mean, making sure that you have these healthier options available
On hand.
or else you're just going to automatically go to whatever that comfort food of choice is. So it's just really important to make sure you have that backup to try to help yourself in terms of choosing a healthier option, to help out with that stress eating factor.
Yeah, and that can plug into your calendar too. Like you can forward plan, I'm going to go grocery shopping on these days. I'm going to pick and choose whatever, cut up vegetables or healthier snacks, or keep, frozen items on hand that I could just heat and eat really quickly, or a bag of popcorn, like things that I can go to that still feel comforting to me, but are not going to necessarily throw me off course as far as my health is concerned. And of course, I just want to caveat this by saying, as far as the new generation of dietitians are concerned, we're very much into food freedom. We don't want to vilify anything or make you feel guilty or bad if you're going off track there. Our bodies are set up to protect us from stress and things. So if you do go off track, try not to make yourself feel like a bad person, and just get back on track the next time around. So like Yasmin just said, try to forward plan some things, try to have some things in your house that will be there available to you so that you can make some healthier choices. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Mildred. Yes. Oh, I miss her too. Please tell her I said hi. So on this next slide, which I think is going to be queuing up here, I have a little bit of a delay. Our monthly webinars are usually scheduled on the second or third Wednesday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, with some exceptions. As we mentioned at the start of this presentation, if you register for any of our events, you're automatically entered into the Dish with Dina mailing list. So you'll get newsletters and all the reminders about things that are coming up, but you can opt out at any time. We don't want you to ever feel like we're slamming you with stuff. So as you can hopefully see, is this on here? Yeah, there you go, on screen. Next month, we have women's health / menopause. We have in June, brain health awareness and Alzheimer's disease. A little bit of a scary topic to talk about with cognitive decline, but there's a lot of research studies being done about things that you can do to prevent that. And then in July, I thought it'd be really neat to kind of do a second half of the year checkup from the neck up, or a mental and physical wellness check-in. So we're going to just maybe state all of the topics that we talked about, and make sure that you're setting off for success for the second half of the year for our mid-year wellness check. And then we would love for you to keep in touch. You have all of the contact information here on screen, and I'm also going to put in the chat, if you do need any nutrition counseling services, I'm more than happy. You can click on this link that I just put in the chat. You can schedule a 15-minute, what's called a discovery call with me. I do charge, you do have to put your credit card on file. It's $15 for 15 minutes. But if you decide to work with me, I credit you that $15 back, and we work together however many weeks or months that we need to. I always just like to start off making sure we're a good fit and that I'm qualified to help you and be of service in however way I can be. So feel free to, just check in with me, see if you need any help. If I can't help you, I can always refer you to somebody else, one of my colleagues. And then, of course, we would like you to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Share our contact info, social media accounts with anyone in your circles who might benefit from what we have to offer. I have marketing plans, and I'm on social media all the time, but I only have so much of a reach. So we really do rely on word of mouth, and we really do think that we can get more people involved and hopefully spread the word of promoting wellness and preventing illness by you helping being part of our marketing and promotion teams. I am literally you just put Dish with Dina in the internets, and I'm like in every single thing, but I'm most active on Instagram and YouTube. And for those of you who I know are in the health and wellness world right now, I see a lot of my former students, my former interns, or anyone else that wants to, I'll put in the chat our LinkedIn links that you can connect with Cassie and me, right? Make friends, grow your network. And maybe if you're interested, you like doing things like this, we can collaborate on stuff together. We really love partnering up with as many people as possible. Lastly, I am not above asking for money. I'm not, because I want to normalize discussions about this, especially in the dietetics field, where we are very, very undervalued, unfortunately, but also because really every little bit helps in creating free content for all of you, for making our services more affordable, accessible. I do a lot of sliding scale and discounts off of my regular fees to those who are suffering from financial hardships or the more underserved and marginalized populations. And then I also like being able to provide the dietetic interns and the nutrition student volunteers with small stipends like gift cards or free lunches that they can go, treat themselves, because they go above and beyond, and all of them work for free all the time. And it's the least that we can do to help just say that we appreciate and value them. So links to my Venmo and my PayPal accounts will be in the follow-up email. But of course, you are under no obligation to contribute. This is just something that I like to say out loud because a lot of people don't realize how much goes into stuff like this. It does take a lot of time, sweat, energy, tears, etc. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Again, I want to really put a huge shout out to Cassie for all of her hard work in putting this presentation together. And so before we officially wrap up, Cassie, is there anything that you would like to share or say?
No, you did a great job explaining everything. Just want to say thank you everyone for coming. We hope you found this information helpful and it can help you in any way manage stress. So thank you guys.
Yes, indeed. Onward, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, your week, and I hope to see you again in one of our future webinars. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.